Welcome to Johnny Likes, the show where I talk about movies that I like. And today I'm discussing the Scary Movie franchise, which is a bunch of parody movies that started coming out in 2000, with the most recent coming out in 2013. They generally skewered horror movies of the time, but also touched on whatever other movies would make the joke work. I watched all of these the other day. I wasn't giving them full attention, I was simultaneously doing household chores. And you know what? It was the best chore day I've had in a long time. I didn't set out to watch them all, but I put on one, and then I put on another, and by the third one, I knew I was going to be watching them all. So I'd seen these movies a couple times over the years, so I had no guilt about not paying them full attention. But it had been a while since I watched them, and they were much better than I remembered. Part 4 has always been the standout in my mind, and still is, but each of them were fun in their own way.
Hey, Doofy, smell my fingers.
Hey, Terry, smell my finger.
Ah, what the hell is that?
My ass.
We will still be friends forever. Hey, will you shut the fuck up and let me sing?
Ow.
What happened?
I don't know. Cody and I were playing a fun game, and then I looked down and... Yahtzee!
Kids, the doors are locked. There's no possible way they can pull the robot out of chocolate.
Or Jodes, J-Mom, Mrs. Sanders, or if they really want to call me Garage!
For these films, it helps if you've seen the movies being parodied, but it's not a prerequisite for enjoyment. The jokes are very broad and come at a rapid-fire pace, and are filled with sight gags and slapstick humor.
Damn!
I remember seeing similar movies when I was a kid, such as Hot Shots or Naked Gun, and I understood that they were making fun of something, but I wasn't always sure of what they were making fun of. Like, they were funny, but at times I wasn't sure that I was laughing at the same things that the adults were laughing at. If you can make a joke work with or without knowing the reference, as the scary movies often do, that's actually just good comedy. As crude, corny, and lowest common denominator as most of the jokes in scary movies and movies of this type are,
Hey, Doofy, smell my fingers.
I gotta say, a surprising, even embarrassing amount of them work for me. The cast of returning actors and characters is a highlight of the series. Lots of actors appeared in multiple films, including but not limited to Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Leslie Nielsen, Anthony Anderson, Kevin Hart, and Charlie Sheen. They're all very fun to watch, and it just seems as if they are having fun trying to be funny. I omitted Anna Faris, as she is the star of the series, and she appears in parts 1 through 4 as Cindy Campbell.
Ow!
She's one of the best comedic actresses out there. It's been a pretty recent revelation to me that she is as good as she is, and that she's consistently entertaining in everything I've seen her in, and I think the lady deserves more respect and recognition. Regina Hall, who plays Brenda Meeks, is the same deal as Anna Faris. She's in parts 1 through 4, and she consistently kills it and deserves more recognition for the success of the series.
Oh, Kim. No, Kim got my sandwich. Oh, Kelly, don't pee on me.
So the first 2 films are R-rated and the rest aren't. And there's a clear tone shift once you hit part 3 and it becomes PG-13.
Have you heard about this videotape? The one where they do it on the boat, and then in the car, and then in the bathtub, and he's like, "Hey baby, I love you." And she's like, "Where are we?"
No, not that tape.
On one hand, I like the raunchiness of the first 2, and I wish the rest would have been R-rated, because even though I enjoyed the others, I wish that there were certain jokes that they could have went a little bit rougher with. On the other hand, I'm glad that they toned down the gross-out humor from the first 2. I don't mind gross-out humor, but it has to be used sparingly. It's not the main attraction to a movie for me. Then again, sometimes the gross out is a huge laugh, and it is the exact right route you want to take.
Okay, now. Dig in.
I miss spoofs and parodies so bad, you guys. How bad? So bad. These types of parodies in particular are the ones I miss. The Zucker, Abrams, Mel Brooks style parodies. They're a staple of my childhood, and I just kind of assumed that they would always be around. It never even occurred to me that these movies might go away. Well, they have. They're dead and gone. I think a few different things came together to kill the genre. First being that they released several bad, terribly unfunny spoofs over a few years, which all flopped. Disaster Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, Haunted House 1, Haunted House 2, maybe another one, I don't know. All of which, I assure you, not worth your time. So that was one thing. Second was the rise of YouTube. It no longer makes sense to do these types of parodies on film, where you're talking about a movie that came out probably a year ago. When YouTubers are doing parody content that are making the best jokes within a week of the movie's release. So parody as a genre still exists, and probably always will, but the format has changed. And the rapid fire, corny as all hell, but still kind of generally amusing parody movie just doesn't appear to be a viable money-making vehicle at this point in history. Nowadays, if you're watching a feature-length parody, there's about a 96% chance that a good chunk of that movie's runtime is dedicated to pornographic content. Because that's the only place you see parodies nowadays. So I'm going to rate the scary movies as a whole at a 3.25 out of 5. They're just goofy, generally fun movies, and that rating is slightly higher than the jokes told to laughs obtained ratio. Fun little factoid, as I was doing a little bit of research for this review, I discovered that there is, in fact, probably going to be a Scary Movie 6. So, maybe the genre's not dead. Maybe it just had to take a little sabbatical, a little breather. I guess we'll see. So I saw the first 2 Scary Movies in theater, and I have some kind of funny stories to share about those experiences. So my father thought it would be a good idea to take his 14-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter, with a friend apiece to see Scary Movie. I assumed that he was expecting some Naked Gun or Robin Hood Men in Tights level maturity humor here. Nope. Well, as you know, that's not how these movies are. I still remember seeing him realize his mistake as the movie progressed and the jokes were pretty crude. It culminated during the scene where Miss Mann's balls hang out. And he kind of freaked out and tried to cover up my sister and her friend's eyes with like his hands and maybe a tribute magazine. But at that point, I think he knew his attempts were futile, and he just accepted that the damage was done. Meanwhile, me and my friend are losing it at the movie. We're having a great old time. It's a memory that's kind of relatable, I think, to seeing something that you shouldn't be seeing with your parents. It makes it awkward for everyone around. You might even remember an experience with this movie, as I watched the preview for this again to see how they presented the movie. And yeah, I could see how people would take their kids to this thinking it's just going to be a fun spoof like Naked Gun. Hell, even my girlfriend said that she had a similar experience as me. She and her friend went and saw it in the theater with her friend's kind of prudish Christian mom. Her mom got actually mad about it to write a letter. I don't know who she was planning on sending the letter to, but just the fact that she was angry enough to write a letter is kind of funny to me, and I'm sure she was not the only one. So I just thought that was a funny little anecdote for you, and if you have a similar one, let the world know in the comments. Scary Movie 2. I saw this with my friends at the local mall at the cheap cinemas for a midnight movie, which is something that used to happen on the weekends, midnight movies. Tickets were like $2 or $3. It was awesome. So there was 6 or 7 of us, a healthy mix of girls and boys for once. Normally it was just a sausage party, so that was kind of nice. Anyway, we all crowded into a mid-80s Chevette in the mall parking lot and got aggressively stoned. 3 large joints of good-ass weed split between the bunch of us in a hotboxed car. Hotboxed means you smoke in an enclosed space without having any airflow, such as a car with the windows rolled up, for a maximum brain damage effect. So we're all super duper cooked and look it and probably smelt it. And we somehow managed to make our way into the mall, find a way to the theater, get tickets, get concessions, somehow find a row of seats altogether with 6 or 7 free. And I remember sitting down and the movie starts and I kind of remember the intro and next thing I know the movie's over. I just lost 90 minutes of time. I remember asking my friends in the car driving around afterwards if they remembered anything from the movie. And they took an honest, thoughtful, contemplative moment, kind of like as stoners will, and said no. And then we all started laughing and freaking out a little bit until we were able to come up with James Woods in the intro and Chris Elliott, mashed potato, strong hand.
Help! Here. Oh, take my hand. Ah, come on.
And Giant Joint. So we were able to come up with a couple things from the movie. And then we felt a little bit better. And that's the story. It's just me and my friends getting really stoned and going to the movie. But I'd never lost a movie so completely after just seeing it. Except for maybe Aquaman, but that's a story for another time. I just thought I'd share that for the personal touch, you know. This was a movie that had some fun times associated with it for me, and the theater experience has stuck with me all these years for some reason, despite the actual experience not sticking with me. And I still think that this movie is the least memorable in the series, after having seen it several times while being less inebriated. But those are my scary movie stories. So if you're still with me, shoot me a like, subscribe. I do alright stuff. Watch my other movies. I got like 100 and some reviews, so most of which are pretty watchable, I'd say. Thanks for watching me talk about movies for a little bit, and you can tune in next time to see what else Johnny likes.